Hi everyone, I'm Lisa and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My project today uses a brand new stamp set called Abstract Impressions. And I've got a wreath that I'm creating with those floral images. I'm going to give you lots of tips along the way to make it easy for you to create one for yourself. I'm also using some beautiful ribbon and some sequin trim just to bring a little shimmer into the card. If you're here visiting from YouTube, you'll be able to find the link to my blog post down in the description bar below. On my blog, I'll have pictures and cutting dimensions plus supplies for this project. Let's head over to the stamp table and let's get started. Here's a good close-up of the card we're going to be creating today. I'm sure in the intro you couldn't see the rhinestones that I had put in these flowers, but boy are they pretty. I'm going to create today's card without the rhinestones so you can see two different options. To create that circle, I'm actually using one of the circle framelits from the Layering Circle Framelits set. This is actually one of my very, very favorite sets of the framelits because you get the graduated sizes of the circles as well as the scallops. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use that as a template in order to create the circles. I'm just going to lay this on my cardstock. I'm going to make sure that I don't go too close to the top so I can leave room to stamp those flowers. And I'm just going to position this in the center the very best that I can. And I'm going to grab a pencil. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a pencil. I am a big fan of this Bic number 2 pencil. And the reason is the lead is very soft and the eraser works like a charm. Any of the pencil marks that would be noticeable will be easy for me to erase. So I'm going to go ahead and just line that up here, and then I'm going to work on the outside and just lightly come around here. I don't even have to trace the whole thing, just so I have an idea on positioning. And I know it's going to be really hard for you to see that in the video because I did make it really light. I'm going to be using the stamp set called Abstract Impressions, and it is literally as its name is intended. We're going to be using these two images down here in the stamp set. I want to point out a couple things about the stamp set to you that you may not have noticed in the catalog. Hoping you can see this on the camera, but there's a little caret here and here that's printed on the actual imaging sheet. That indicates where these images are lined up. That'll make it easier for you to layer the images to make a 2 or 3 step stamped 3D type of image. I had difficulty trying to find that. So what I did is I took a fine Sharpie marker and I placed a small dot where that caret was reminiscent to it so that I would be able to easily line these up on my paper. I'm pointing that out because the two that I've pulled off here to use today do not have the caret on the imaging sheet. So therefore there is no perfect alignment for these. So it's just real easy and abstract. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you are interested in Stampin' Up! Products and would like a copy of the brand new catalog that came out on June 1st, I'd be happy to send you one. Just leave me a comment below. I'm going to be using Berry Burst for my flowers, and I have my grid paper below me because we're going to actually have to stamp off a layer of ink for the more solid image of the flower, and then there's a more detailed image that's going to create that 3D look. I'm going to ink that up and I'm going to stamp off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the flower in the center of that line. And we're going to come all the way around and just fill those spots. It is okay to leave some opening between the images. They don't have to be on top of each other, but you can see that this quickly comes together. I'm going to also give you a tip that if you have to squeeze a couple images in at the end, it's best that you do it where you're going to put the bow. So you're going to see I keep stamping off. I'm manipulating the stamp just a little bit, and then we'll put one more here. And I had to squeeze that one in. The stamp will become stained from the pigmentation of the ink, but it does not affect its use. So just make sure you use your Stampin' Mist and your Stampin' Scrub to clean off your stamp, and it's good to go in another color. You can see that I've just done that off camera, and it's fine. So now I've got that smaller image that's going to provide the detail. I'm going to ink that up as well, and I'm just going to stamp that in the center. You can see that there is a detailed dot that fits in the center of this image, and it's not even meant to be lined up perfectly. So if it's not perfect, don't worry about it. I'm switching over now to the Granny Apple Green. You're going to be able to tell the difference in my ink pads as well. This is the brand new stamp case style, which is a lot easier to open and use than our older style. Exact same ink, so don't let that throw you. This one opens like a makeup compact. So you're just going to pull these together and then you're going to slide it in. And I've pulled out the tiny leaves from that stamp set. Now I've got another upcoming video using this stamp set in the next couple weeks that you're not going to want to miss, because I'm going to be working outside the box with this and giving you some other ideas, especially with a card coming up on my blog. If you're not already subscribed to my blog, I would encourage you to do so. I'm going to stamp off because I don't want that green to be too dark and take away from those flowers. And all I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and I'm just going to fill this in just a little bit. And I don't even have to do every single flower. To close these New Style ink pads, give it a little push from the back. That's going to release it, and it's going to give you a little bit more room here to grab onto. And then it closes very much like it opened. Here's where our pencil is going to come in handy. Any areas of pencil mark that you can see, just come inside and just lightly erase them. I've chosen the greeting that reads, "Kindness changes everything." And I'm going to use my Memento ink, and I'm going to ink that image up. I always like to check and make sure I've got good coverage, and then I'm going to stamp that inside the center of this wreath. I've cut a piece of silver foil that I'm going to layer this on. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some adhesive to the four corners of my card. Then I'm going to layer this. I'm going to leave a very small border of that foil just to lead some credence to that beautiful metallic edge ribbon we're going to be using. I'm going to fold a piece of Whisper White cardstock in half. Again, you're going to find all the cutting dimensions over on my blog. And then this is going to get layered on top of here. So again, more adhesive in those corners. And again, also a very small, narrow border of white around it, just so we can leave that color kind of popping. I've cut a piece of the Berry Burst metallic edge ribbon. Isn't this beautiful? And that's going to bring out that silver foil very nicely. I'm going to go ahead and make myself a bow. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of that sequin trim. I cut off about 4 inches, and I'm going to use a glue dot to add this to the back. So I'm just finding somewhere near the center. And I'm going to place this on the back of the ribbon. I'm going to trim that bow once I get it on the card. And then more glue dots to hold that bow in place. I think I'm going to use 2. This is where you can hide any imperfections. So if you've got an area where you had to cover one flower to get to another, you can go ahead and place your bow there. So it doesn't matter what side it's on. And then I'm going to come in with my paper snips. I'm going to cut this on an angle. And the same on this side. These are just a little bit too long for me, so I'm going to cut those as well. Isn't that pretty and really simple? Now you're going to see the difference between these two. Do you see how this wreath is a little tighter than this one? And it's just a matter of where you stamp the flowers. Now this is stamped right down the center of that trace line. This I moved just a little bit up to get a little bit bigger wreath. If you like the video, make sure that you go ahead and leave me a comment, like, and share. I love to interact with my viewers. Head over to my blog for those pictures and cutting dimensions. And while you're there, go ahead and click on the Online Classes tab. You'll find fun ways for you to stamp with me from home. And don't forget to sign up for my free e-newsletter, where I provide a free tutorial that's not shared on my other platforms. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.